경기를 이카루스 전해드리겠습니다.
Five, four, three, two, one. This is Deducter bringing you set 2 of KT Rolster vs SK Telecom 1. SKT 1 already up 1 in the first match, which is a battle of the rookie, and in game 2 we have a battle between two relatively poor players too. We have BarrackS playing as the orange player at the 12 o'clock position for KT Rolster, and we have S2 playing as the white Zerg at the 9 o'clock position on the map Icarus. So S2 has a 50% win rate overall, but he's a versus Protoss specialist against Terran. He's only 35%. And BarrackS, on the other hand, is just a pretty poor player overall. He's 33% over 30 games. And his best matchup is against Zerg, of which he has 42%. So he's not really a specialist against Zerg. It's better than his other matchups. It's the best of his poor matchups, I should say. So even in game 2, neither team bringing out their big guns just yet. Again, we have a battle of these sort of mediocre players again. S2, though, has impressed me in the past with his versus Protoss play. I'm not quite sure what his weakness is, and that girl is getting her hair done by that other girl, who, despite the fact that their faces were already hidden, seemed embarrassed or something. Or maybe they were just laughing. Anyway, let's see. So, the Overlord is scouting the wrong position for S2. This is a 4-player map, Icarus, by the way. I believe the map statistics are slightly favored in versus Zerg, so in TVZ it is 46%, but to me that's basically 50-50. Maybe a slight advantage towards Zerg, but it shouldn't matter much, I feel. There we have the mascot. I'm not going to comment on the mascot. Sometimes he's delightful. Like right now, oh, that's such a nice hug and handshake. Okay, see, there he was delightful, but sometimes he can be creepy. I wonder if it's always the same guy. That might explain it, because whoever's, well, we'll see. Okay, I don't understand that little hand motion. Firebat Hero used to do that. The Firebat Hero was on Samsung Con, now he's on Air Force A, so I don't get it. Anyway, here we have a drone picking away at SAV. Is there going to be another worker killing a scouting worker killing a worker again? Is this going to be sort of a trend now? It does not appear like that SAV is going to get killed after all. So S2 not going to accomplish that. With the Marine out, this is going to force the drone away. Fortunately, normally I wouldn't exclaim, you know, in that sort of tone. It looks like the BarrackS into expansion build versus the 12 hatch followed by pool is what this looks like. So both players going standard. Normally I would not exclaim so loudly about, you know, the scouting worker trying to pick away at a worker in the base, but lately it seems pro gamers have been losing workers left and right to this, which should not happen. I think it's just sort of a... it doesn't mean that pro gamers are getting worse at their worker micro. I suspect it just so happens that there's a bit of a coincidence lately, is what it is. Looks like we have a few Zerglings out to chase around this SCV here. Not really going to accomplish much, except destroy the SCV pretty early on, I have to say. Well, it's more of a normal time. So, ooh, that SCV almost surviving, and you can hear the crowd, you know, getting very excited over this. And that's the great thing about the Korean audience. They seem to know where the action is. You know, sometimes the scouting worker surviving the extra 5-10 seconds can make a critical difference. In this case, did not survive. So it looks like S2 is building a few more Zerglings. Second scout coming out by BarrackS. He does not want to be caught off guard, which is good. S2 does not have speed upgrade just yet. I don't know whether he's getting the layer or not. I imagine he is right now. So nothing other than usual for either player. Let's see whether BarrackS is going to be able to manage to sneak this SCV, and he is! He's going to see the lair. He's going to see the creep colony, and he's even going to get into the main. He sees the new, the third hatchery, and he sees the spire, which was put down before the new hatchery, I believe. So he knows what's coming up. He knows it's going to be fast mealess. So he should be able to defend in time. He needs to have his engineering bay down already. He might have had it down earlier for +1 attack. Looks like BarrackS pushing out with quite a few medic marines, but unlike in turn versus Hoja, this guy S2 is not going to lose to an early attack. He's put down the Sunkens at the right time and morphed them just as the marines arrive. And if he gets a few lings, he should be fine. But it looks like BarrackS is going anyway. Where are the lings for S2? These marines picking away at the Sunkens, killing one of the Sunken. Second Sunken, I don't know where the hell the lings are. Firebat's coming, and just as I said that S2 was not going to lose to something like this, it looks like he is going to lose to something like this. I have no idea what happened to his Zerglings and why he didn't put the drones off earlier. Now we have marines and Firebats running amok in S2's main, and this is going to be GG. Another one of these early timing attacks. I guess this is why S2 is not good against Terran. Zerg cannot have a blind spot to Terran like this. Mutalisk morphing now, but it's not going to matter. S2's economy has already been crippled. Even if he cleans this up, which he should be able to do, it won't matter. His economy is too crippled to do much of anything at this point. He is going to be able to clean up his base, so he's not going to lose outright here. But he's lost so many drones now. It's not impossible for him to come back. He probably has a 10% chance of winning at this point. Although, interestingly enough, BarrackS doesn't really have many Marines built in his base. What exactly has he been spending this time doing? He's put down quite a few turrets to defend, of course, which is fine. But I would imagine he would have a few more units than this. Still, nice push by BarrackS. I am not quite sure why S2 did not have some early lings out to defend. I guess it might have been because he went for fast mealess. He just did not have the resources to spare. Zerg needs to refine their build a bit so that they do not, lose so much to one of these early Terran infantry breaks. Fortunately for S2, he's finding a bit of a blind spot and picked off a few SEVs there. He's also going to be able to pick away at some of these Marines. But his economy, I just don't think is going to be able to cope with this. BarrackS can afford to throw away many SEVs, even, potentially. S2 canceled something there. He does have 3 hatcheries, and he's managed to re-drone up. So maybe now the probability for S2 of winning is 20% now. Still, he is in some desperate trouble. He would have to play out of his mind to win. He has only a few meallists, it looks like. The one thing, it seems, is that BarrackS has not opted for early +1 attack. That's probably how he managed to get enough units to push so fast. He's also not putting down nearly as many BarrackS as is usual for Terran these days. He's gone for factory earlier, so he wants his science vessel faster, which I think is a good move. I mean, S2 is not even in position to take his third at this point, which is normally what Zerg wants to do. But he just doesn't have the resources to do it. He's forced to put down even more creep colonies as his front in case BarrackS comes barreling down with more medic marines, which BarrackS, if he put down like 5 BarrackS, he could have done it, and I don't think there'd be anything S2 can do to hold out. I mean, you can morph like a couple Sunkens with the meallists, you might be able to hold out for a while, but your economy is already devastated. Still, S2 is doing a good job. He's doing the best he can with these meallists in hit and run attacks, picking off the odd unit adherent to delaying buildings, picking off medics and marines, building SEVs, doing a good job with his meallists, I have to say. Even so, despite his successful forays into BarrackS' base, I'm not sure that he did enough damage to compensate for his early losses there. And especially considering he's not putting down his third base. And before long, science vessels will be out for BarrackS. Looks like S2 is going to assault these turrets. Not a wise decision. He might be able to force 2 turrets to burn down, but ultimately, I don't think BarrackS is going to mind. S2 does have a nice force of meatless, and he is using them quite effectively. BarrackS not really able to affect any sort of a push out his base after the initial push. He has 2 groups of medic marines, it looks like. I mean, his forces are pretty significant, and S2 using the terrain to maximum advantage. Now +1 upgrade is finished. These meatless are going to be less and less effective. Now they're getting caught by a bunch of marines, still doing good damage. I have to say, S2, this game showing that he does have good meatless control. Still, he's taken so many casualties, and just now is he putting down his 3rd base. S2 probably still has like a 20% probability of winning at this point. And BarrackS has a massive force of infantry. He's gonna have tanks and vessels out soon. S2 is probably trying to go to Hive. He needs to hold out until Defilers. That's the only way he even has a shot at winning this game. He needs to delay until he can get Consume out. If he can, and I'm not sure he can do that, it's going to be GG. He has 5 lurkers morphing. BarrackS going for an attack. I'm not sure where this is wise. He suffered quite a few casualties, but BarrackS can afford the losses. Just needs to be a bit careful and not like lose too many units. He has lost quite a few Mag Marines to that push to these lurkers, arguably unnecessarily so. I think BarrackS would be wise to send a few units to kill that 3rd base and use the rest to delay, which looks like he might be trying to do that, picking off some more meatless, delaying the lurkers as best as he can. Those meatless in conjunction with the lurker, excellent micro, I have to say. BarrackS using this high ground. Where is BarrackS' 2nd army? Is this all he has? As BarrackS using his Mag Marines excellently to pick off meatless. Nearly all the meatless are dead. He's going to be able to pick off this 3rd base. With the 3rd base down, I mean, S2 was already in deep trouble. This is just going to be worse. Even if he manages to finish off that little army, which looks like he's not going to opt to do. He's going for a counterattack, but counterattack is not going to work. He's going for Greater Spire. Desperate move by a desperate Zerg. Why not? At this point, he knows he's pretty much lost. GG coming from S2. I was hoping maybe his Gambit might have a chance, but no. The early break by BarrackS was just way too much for him to overcome, despite the fact that he has some good meatless harassing this game. Going on to set 3.
이카루스 센터의 두 갈래 길에서 오른쪽 길로 가고 머린 메딕은 위쪽 길로 오면서 머린 메딕의 양을 확인 못하는, 그리고 타이밍을 확인 못하는 경우가 나왔었고요. 상대방의 그 SCB를 초반부터 끊어내지 못하면서 자신의 의도를 모두 다 들켜버린 것이 완벽한 패배의 지름길이 돼버렸습니다.
네. 자, 이렇게 해서 1대1 동점을 기록하면서 두 팀은 역시나 주거리 맞거리를 하고 있습니다. 어떻게 보면 지금 현재 계속 오프닝 이벤트가 멀어진다고 생각되는데요. 1대1 동점인 가운데 이제 메인 카드들이 조금씩 나오지 않을까 생각이 좀 듭니다. 자, 지금 저는 소식을 들었거든요. 소식을 들었기 때문에 그런 말씀을 드린 겁니다.